jobs are evolving. So we can try to jump into making learning how to make apps, websites, and try to evolve to the job market. So I know many questions that would come is what language when you're developing an Android app. So I'm going to talk about a few. So we have Java, which is, so when I say Android there, that's the IDE, that's the Android Studio, when you're developing the Android. And then we have Kotlin, which is the newest language, which was announced that is the most preferred. So if you want to jump into Kotlin, actually I would advise you try using Kotlin because it's much easier compared to Java. So I've been coding Java for 5 years, and I can say for a fact that Kotlin is much easier now compared to the old Java. So we have Swift for iOS if you want to do iOS development, and we have Flutter. Now, Flutter and React, they're very, I would say in terms of they're very nice right now, because when you try to use Flutter, you'll find that you'll be able to develop for both iOS and the Android. When you develop with Java, you're only limited to Android only. And when you develop for Kotlin, you're only limited to Android only. That's why my app is only limited to Android users only. So I cannot ship my app to iOS users. So that's a limitation with using those two languages. So we have Flutter is by Google. It's a language by Google. We have React Native, which is the JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, yay! You'll be very good there because you can build for both Android and iOS. React Native is made by Facebook. We have C# and Unity, which is made by Microsoft. This one you can use it in the Android platform, but this one mostly is used for making games. So those are the logos, or the logos. Java, Unity, in case you make them somewhere and you're wondering what is that language, because we have so many languages that it's really confusing. I mean, if you think of it, right now, when you want to start even a new language, I think everybody's experiencing a challenge to where you're thinking, what language am I supposed to be using? Because they're evolving pretty quick. So in my viewpoint, I think being able to understand the first two, pick one language that you can understand and try to push through that language. Like I chose Java and I start with Java. So it made me be able to, when I look at other languages like Kotlin, it was easier for Kotlin to click. Because for new learners, like the kind of challenges I've been hearing is, hey, how do you maintain building with one language when the languages keep evolving? And then I told them, just stick to one first. Once you get to understand it very well the way it's used, now you can move to others, just slowly. And the process of making the app. So I'm going to talk about the process that I used to make my budgeting app. So things to consider. So these things I learned from the scholarship. So I gave them credit for that because they really helped me. So mostly what you look at is the intended users. So the intended users is if you're making an app, if you're deciding to make an app today, like let's say you want to jump into entrepreneurship, right? Like which is very good that you can actually do right now. You can decide, okay, I'm gonna make an app which is gonna be making me money as I still work. Because I mean you can do that, right? You're not limited. So things to consider is intended users. So let's say you have an idea. So you're thinking, should I make a kids app? Should I make a game? So you have to have an intended user so that you don't get lost inside the world of having so many users trying to understand, is this my app? Is this meant for me? And then the features. So the features, this one I'll say that one comes and it evolves. Because when I made my presentation body, I didn't know that I wanted so many features. Because I had only like I wanted only three sections, where it's the transaction, the budgets, and the ideas. But I ended up having like more than 3 features. So that one is something that involves the user interface. This is really important, which is also a very big barrier, because you may have an idea of making an app, right? But do I have an idea of how I want it to feel? The feel, I mean, when people download my app, are they gonna say no? It looks very bad. Are they gonna say no? It doesn't, you know, it doesn't entice my eyes to use it every day. So user interface is something that I would say if you want to jump into mobile development, just spend like, let's say, even if it's less than a year, just to dive into that. It's a very good tool that you can add to your knowledge of knowing how to develop apps. So the key consideration is just have the idea, the general application idea. How will your app handle the data system? So this is a very big thing in app development, where you think of, let's say, what are you gonna do, like when you want to start saving the user? Okay, let's say you're collecting data from people, right? Let's say somebody's sending in their email address and their phone number or anything. What are you planning to use for that? So we have several libraries. We have Roam, which is offered by Google. We have Firebase too. We have so many out there, but mostly based on my app, I use Firebase, which is very convenient, and I use Roam too, which is a very good library for Android.
What is what's the
Roam? The Roam.
How do you spell that?
R-O-O-M.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a short form for the viewmodel and sorry, I forgot the short form of it. So how will I'm going to give you that when we're done. So how will your app scale? So that also has to do with the data system. Let's say you have a target of 1 million users, right? You have to be able to think earlier. Because by the time I read a story about Twitter when they started, they didn't have an idea of that they will be getting so many people sending tweets, like when there's a big event, like this, let's say the World Cup at one moment. So they had to struggle with that. Yeah, yeah. So that is something that you have to really think about when you're developing your apps. Again, UI and UX experience, and then compatibility. So for this compatibility part is when you develop, let's say, for be able to make apps for what do you call, like tablets, and then we need to also make sure that we have features which we tend to be comfortable for people who are disabled too. That's something good to also consider, because many people don't consider that. But when you're developing an app, it's good to always have that in mind, like be able to put features which will be able to help the people with disabilities. It's good to also consider that. So. I think I had a little bit of, let me see. I think it didn't want to load that section. Let me just go there one minute and load it. So in graph form, that's when you're developing the app. I think my online didn't want to pick that up. Sorry about that. So in app form, so you have the idea, the mock-up idea, the data systems. That's how it goes. Just to have a general idea, and then you go to the target audience. Testing is very important. You know, we have to test our app, and then we shift to production. And then in summary, I will say mobile development is very fun online. If you have any questions about mobile development, please feel free to reach to me, and I will share my app. If you have any questions on how you want to move forward, or how you can even make it for you. Because for mine right now, I'm using it in terms like it will help me generate some income on the side. So I'm making a premium version, which I'll charge. So I don't have to, I mean, you can be employed and still have an app, which brings in, I mean, nobody can give you $1 for free, right? Yeah, so any dollar collected from your own sweat, it's worth it. And with that, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No, I don't need to use yours. It's okay.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Madonna.
Welcome.
So is that back with PCVM?
Huh?
Have you got a PCVM virtual machine on it?
Right here?
Is it a Mac? No, it's not a Mac. Okay.
No, it's Samsung.
Okay.
It's a notebook.
Okay.